So today's review will be none other than Stephen King's It. This was a huge one. And I, as a reader, tend to be a little bit scared of big books. I tend to take my time reading. I'm a very slow reader. I just really like to process everything and anything that I can, and I don't know, I just prefer to read slower. Yes, I can read faster, but to me, when I read faster, I lose things, I miss things, and I don't know, I just enjoy it more when I take my time and I slow it down. So, that being said, this is a 1,153 page book. Quick summary of the book. It takes place in this town called Derry, Maine. It takes place back in 1957, and it's basically about this town where these children are suddenly going missing or being murdered, and being murdered in these like fantastical, strange, and horrific ways. So eventually these kids, these 7 different kids, are drawn to each other, and they form a connection and a friendship and a very strong bond. One of the kids, who turns out to be their leader of their group, his younger brother was the first child to be murdered in the story. So he really has this great, immense incentive to go after this evil thing, and murder this evil thing and kill it and stop it for good from killing all these other children. They decide that they are going to go after it, and they think that they have killed it. But just in case they did not, they have made this pact that when it comes back again, they will return and they will work together to fight it again. And so that happens. 30 years go by, and then it returns, and they all come back and they go after it again. There are other characters in the story as well besides these 7 kids and Pennywise, or It, and they're very colorful characters as well. This little boy named Henry, he's got it out for all these kids. He's like the big old bully, you know, and just his story is very interesting as well, how he kind of became a bully and why he's a bully, and what happens to him and how it like takes over him. And it's a very fantastical story. The characters are so different. They are so wide in their areas of interest. Some of them have disabilities, some of them have love interests, some of them are victims of abuse. Another great thing that I like about Stephen King is his dialogue. That because of the dialect and the use of language for each of these characters, you know, they're all so very different. They all talk differently. They're all from different backgrounds, socioeconomically and all of that. So I just really enjoyed it. I love Stephen King's prose. I love, you know, just everything, his build up. I love everything about King, and I love him precisely for all the reasons why people hate him. I love the build up. That to me is just like classic horror, you know. I remember reading one scene in the book early on where, you know, someone is so scared that they end up taking their lives. And a loved one kind of has this feeling, and you know, as you're reading it, you know, I know what's coming, she knows what's coming, but through her movement of walking toward this door to open this door, it's like, you know what's on the other side, and you don't want her to open the door, but you got to keep reading on, and he just builds it up and builds it up, and you think, you know, she's gonna open the door, she's gonna open the door, and then like 3 pages go by, and he talks about her like feelings about opening the door and touching the door and hearing like the things behind the door. It's just, I don't know, I love King, okay? But yeah, I completely recommend this book to anyone who loves horror, who loves children who rise up to become heroes, themes of good versus evil, religion, and horror. It's just wonderful. It's wonderful. And I will be watching the movies. I am just not a horror fan when it comes to movies, but I'm a huge horror fan when it comes to books. And I don't know what's wrong with me. I really, really don't. So once I watch the movies, I will not be watching them alone. I can sit, you know, in a dark room with a book light and read a horror story by myself, and I'm fine. You know, I'll have crazy nightmares, but I'm fine. I can't do that with movies, guys, okay? I don't know if it's the visual effects. I don't know if it's more realistic. I don't know if when I come home from the movies, you know, it's gonna be behind the shower curtain. I just can't do it, and I don't enjoy it. But I'm gonna do it for this book. I want to watch the movies because of this book. Now we're gonna talk about what probably could have been left out of the book, okay? There is a part, probably 3/4 of the way through, maybe a little bit farther, that when I was reading, I was like, it's pretty cringy. I'm not gonna lie, it's really, really cringy. But that aside, I love the book. However, I do believe that that part could have been omitted, and I would have given this book a higher rating. Had that part not been in the book, and had the ending been a little bit more different, this would have been a perfect straight 5 stars for me. But I'm not going to spoil it for you, but let's just say that women are not going to like it. Men are probably not going to like it if you're decent. Yeah, it's I don't want to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. But if you've read the book, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, that part I could have done without. But that set aside, this book was amazing. And I gave this book a 4.5 stars. And that's a high rating for me. That's a really high rating. If you've read it, please comment down below and let me know your thoughts on it, how you rated it, the best parts of the book, the worst parts of the book. And hey, if you want to talk about that cringy scene in the comments, go right ahead. Just beware, viewer, that if you do read the comments, there might be some spoilers. But I am all for talking about books and creating a conversation here on BookTube. That's why I'm here. I love it when you guys comment and talk to me. I try my best to respond to everyone. And yeah, that's going to be it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed, and until my next one, don't forget to bookmark Beth.